Sorokin author, productions, communication book Hearts of Four. Are you here? Home text Vladimir Sorokin Hearts of Four. Copyright Vladimir Sorokin. 1991. Oleg kicked the door with his foot and entered the bakery. There were few people. He went to the trays, took 2 white ones, 20 and a half black. I stood in line for a woman. Soon the turn came up. 50, said the grey-haired cashier. Oleg gave the ruble. You're 50, the cashier said. Clutching bread to his chest, he moved to the exit. Going out. Took out a plastic bag, began to stick bread in it. The bun slipped out of his hands and fell into a puddle. Damn. Oleg leaned over and picked up a loaf. He was dirty and wet. Oleg went to the ballot box and threw a loaf at it. Then he took the bag comfortably and moved to his house. Hey, man, wait, they called from behind. Oleg looked back. A tall old man came up to him. Leaning on a stick, he wore a grey worn coat and an army hat with ear flaps. In his left hand the old man was holding a string bag with a black loaf. The old man's face was thin and calm. Wait, the old man repeated. What's your name? Me. Oleg answered. And me, Henrik Ivanovich. Tell me, Oleg, are you in a hurry? No, not really. The old man nodded his head. Well, okay, you probably live in that tower. Guessed. Oleg grinned. Very good. And I'm away at the ocean. The old man smiled. That's what, Oleg, if you really are not in a hurry. Let's go through our, so to speak, general direction and talk. I have a conversation with you. They went nearby. You know, Oleg, more than anything I cannot stand when morals are read. Never respected these people. I remember that before the war they still sent me to the pioneer camp in the summer. And we got a counselor, a kind of moralist. Everything taught us boys what we need to be. Well, in short, I ran away from that camp. For some time the old man walked silently, creaking a prosthesis and looking under his feet. Then he spoke again. When the war began, I was 14. How old are you? 13, Oleg answered. 13, the old man repeated. Have you heard about the Leningrad blockade? Well, I heard, the old man repeated, sighed and continued. Then we stayed with my grandmother and my younger sister, Verochka. Father on the first day, 22nd of June, near Brest. Big brother, near Kharkov. And Mom, on Vasilievsky in a bomb shelter failed. And we stayed, old and small. My grandmother was attached to the hospital. I took Verochka on duty with me. And I went to the factory. Oleg, they taught me how to work non-children, to build shells for katyushas. And in 2.5 years I gathered them so much that would be enough for the fascist division. Here, if it weren't for our ruffians, headed by Zhdanov, the city could have survived normally. But then they thought with assholes, these bastards, and set us all up. They did not take care of food, they could not save it. The Germans bombed Badayevsky warehouses immediately, they burned. And we guys laughed. They did not understand what awaited us. Everything burned, flour, butter, sugar. Then, in the winter, the women went there, the land was picked up, cooked, filtered. They say it turned out to be a sweet broth. From sugar, well, in general, rations of bread to a working 200 grams, a dependent 125. As Ladoga froze Verochka to the mainland, along the road of life, himself planted her in a truck. Granny was baptized, cried, at least she will survive. And then, when the blockade was lifted, he found out that Verochka had not reached. The Germans flew in, 6 trucks with children and wounded under the ice. The old man stopped, took out a crumpled scarf, blowing his nose. Here, Oleg, what were you doing? But I wanted to tell you about one case. Second blockade winter, the hardest time. Maybe I endured it because I was a kid. Granny is dead, the neighbors are dead, and not alone. Every morning someone is driven on a sled. I'm at the factory. You'll go into the foundry and warm yourself. And again to my assembly. Here, and on the eve of the new year, my father's colleague comes to me. Vasily Nikolaevich Koshelev. He sometimes looked at us, brought canned food, cereals. Grandma helped bury. Comes in and says, well, Stakhanovite, get dressed. I say, where? Secret, says. New Year's gift. I got dressed. Let's go. And he brings me to the bakery. Held through the checkpoint. And to his office. And there he was, the secretary of the party committee. Key door. He opens the safe, takes out sliced bread and a can of stew. Poured boiling water with saccharin. Eat, says Stakhanovite. Do not rush. I piled on stew, on bread. But this bread, Oleg, you probably would not have accepted for bread. It is black, like black soil, heavy, wet. But then it was sweeter for me than any cake. I ate everything, washed down with boiling water and just got drunk, fell and I can't get up. He raised me, put it on the mattress to the battery. Sleep, he says, until the morning. And he worked there round the clock. I disconnected. In the morning he woke me up, fed again, but less. And now, he says, let's go, I'll show you our economy. He led me through the shops. I saw thousands of loaves, thousands. As in a dream, they are floating along the conveyor. I'll never forget. And then he takes me to the pantry.